Godship. We gotta talk the talk so we can walk the walk. So let's talk. We were made in the image and likeness of God. God being the universe. That's how and why we're made up of the elements of the universe, with our head being the fire, our body being the earth, our stomach being the fuel/water, and our chest being the air/lungs. The spark comes from ideas, which is the fire. And after you get that spark, depending on what type of fuel you have in your stomach, hence the gut, is what fuels the spark, fuels the fire. Hence why liquids is what we need in our gut. Hence why when we eat, quote unquote, our fuel, our body compresses all of the solids so it can get the proper fuel to stay into our gut, and then the solid turns into waste and it comes out in our stool. So now that you have our ideas, then it goes into our first brain, which is our gut, and that's what fuels our thoughts. So depending on the proper fuel, what it depends on, now you have like a vehicle, an air-fuel ratio that must be proper. So now you can start to breathe. Depending on the balance in your gut will depend on if you go into a rageful breathing or rageful breath work. Now anger can either be bred or peace. And 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 4 seconds out, hold it. 4 seconds in. Hold it. 4 seconds out. Now you're controlling the breath work. Now you're controlling how much the fire breathes. Now you can control your inner chi, which they refer to in layman's term or common day term as energy, but it's inner chi. It's your inner force, your inner power. Now you have 3 elements. You've used the fire, which is the spark or the idea that's in your head. Now you've added the fuel to it, which is the proper nutrients in the gut. Depending on that, we've all heard of the term, you are what you eat, but you are what you think. They go hand in hand. You are what you breathe. Hence why we need to be in nature with trees, which are our filters. It's just like a vehicle. It has an air filter. Our trees are our air filters. It cleanses all the pollutants and toxins that man will try to put into the air or in the ether, because nature will balance itself at all times. All right, now let's get back to it, because we got 3 elements we've used already. Once you have the proper ideas or the spark in the head, the idea, the fire, now we can go to, like we said, we have the proper fuel that's mixing with it. Okay, now we're getting that flame. Now we're controlling our breathing. We're controlling our breath work. Now we have air. Now we can move the body. That's where we get our energy. It goes in motion. Now we have our energy in motion. Our energy in motion. How we're flowing. We're moving the body to operate. Like we said, this is Godship, talk the talk that we're doing. Now we can walk the walk, because we're moving the body as a God will. But you first have to put the proper fuel in as a God would, or a God should, as a God have been commanded. For those that are Christians, it's Genesis 1:29. You were given every tree with fruit-bearing seed to be used for meat. Let's repeat that. I give you every tree with fruit-bearing seed to be used for meat. That's your meat. Anytime you read in the Bible where it's speaking of meat, if it's anything outside of that, that's not God talking. It's impossible. God will not confuse you. God doesn't contradict himself. God doesn't give you a law to follow, and then once it's disobeyed, it takes from another species to compensate for your lack of following directions. And so to break that down, God would not go take another species, mother, father, cousin, brother, sister, father, grandfather, great-grandfather away from it so you can have a Happy Meal, a hamburger, when it already gave you your meal plan of every tree with fruit-bearing seed to be used for your meat. Just because the people chose to go against law to where the lands had to be flooded according to the fairy tale / story in the Bible, and then come back and say, well, now that you guys disobeyed to where I had to flood the land, now you can eat the animals that you were given dominion over. Now let's get to dominion. Dominion means to protect, to teach, to guide, to have authority over. It doesn't mean, there's no synonym for it. It means to kill, to eat. Nowhere in it. It's not a synonym, nowhere in it. Because one thing we must know, that energy doesn't die, it transfers. Inner chi doesn't die, it transfers. So the inner force of that fruit that's on a tree bearing seeds that's to be used for meat is high vibrational. It's electrical and it's magnetic at the same time. It gets its electrical charge through the fluid/liquid/water/H3O2 that was converted from H2O once it came up through the root system of the tree into the fruit that was formed and charged by the Son of God. Let's repeat that. It was charged by the Son of God. So when we eat that fruit that's been charged by the Son of God, which is the positive, it's also been charged by the moon, which is the negative. It's been perfectly balanced. That's what this is all about, balance. So now when you transfer that energy, that balanced energy from that fruit that was charged by the sun and the moon from the creator of the balanced universe, it infuses with you and it lives through you rather than hitting the ground, having to die and go through the decomposing process of mending back with the lands, the earth, turning back into soil to feed another tree or to feed that tree. Then it starts the process all over again of trying to infuse with the creation of God. Which should be balanced. We were to be balanced. We were created balanced. Hold on. What's up, brother? Gotta get the beast together. You wanna go potty? Let's go. No? Okay. Okay, so we got the 4 elements now. Now we have the body that's using the proper inner chi and putting it in motion. That's where we get our emotions. It's our inner chi in motion, how we operate, how we flow through the day, how we flow through life. It's all controlled by the balancing of all the elements. All the elements coming together once balanced. That's what the ether or the Akasa or the God principle, that's where it comes together to create balanced life or the balanced universe. So that'll bring us back to and we were made in the image and likeness of God. So we're a multiverse, one of, inside of the universe. Understanding and understanding that, we're in charge of keeping balance within our universe. Becoming the one with one. It starts with what we put in our gut. What we put in our gut will control what thoughts and ideas come into our head. Because that spark, which is a thought or an idea, without a fuel source, it can't turn into a fire. It can't turn into a flame. That we use our proper breathing / breath work to control how big or how small or how controlled or out of control that fire can be. Which will then manage who, what, when, where, how, and why we move our body to interact with others, or how we use our bodies to actually go into solitude. So we can actually hear more from the Creator. That's when you can actually hear the messages from the universe, from the Most High, the Creator of the balanced universe. You coming in, dude, or you staying out there? Come on. I will stay right there then. I'm big. You come in here. That's the beast I have dominion over. Hence why I can't eat it. I have to teach him. I have to guide him. I have to protect him. It's part of Godship. So, to get back to every tree with fruit-bearing seed to be used for our meat. And the herbs are for the healing of the nation. Hence why properties of herbs are deeply rooted in healing. But they also have a positive and negative force too, because not only can they be for healing, just like anything else, if too much of anything can also kill. So everything has a positive and negative aspect / side to it. Knowing that we must stay in balance at all times. Sorry about that. Got a little off track, trying to get a few things together, but all right. When we eat, whatever we're eating, it had in it inner chi, inner force. And that inner chi will not die. It will only transfer. So, let's talk about our proper fuel, which is the liquids within the fruits bearing seeds. If they were properly cared for, that means they would have had the proper water. They would have had the proper soil, which is where we get our nutrients from. Because we were told, like, we're made up of the same nutrients / minerals that are in our soil, but we can't just go out and eat the dirt, which has the silver, the gold, the copper, the iron, and all of the elements on the periodic table. Our bodies processes or receives all of those elements through our fruits bearing seeds, because it sucks it up with the water when it's feeding the trees, bushes, and it transferred into the fruits that we are to be used for our meat. Then once we eat it, our body extracts the liquids, H3O2. Shout out to Yaki. Along with all of the minerals that's necessary, and it gets rid of the waste. So, that's the way gods are to eat. That's the way gods are to eat. We can eat an entire fruit. Most fruits, we can eat the seeds, if not all. And when that seed get in our gut, it's going to scrape our intestine walls on its way to come out in our stool. It's almost like a big old floor scrubber, scrubbing the inside of your intestine walls as your body pushes it out. Certain seeds your body would naturally reject if it's too big. Maybe something like an avocado seed. Probably because it's not to be eaten whole. So we spit it out and go back to the lands. It will go back to the lands when we spit it out and to produce another tree. And that tree will produce you unlimited amounts of avocados if cared for properly. But let's say we want to live like human, quote unquote, or a person, quote unquote, or an individual, quote unquote. These are all terms that were created to confuse. Go look up the legal definition of each one of those words, but that's another topic for another conversation for another day. But if you were confused and told like you were one of these things and you weren't a god, you would think, well, since I'm not a god, I don't have to eat fruits from trees that bear seeds. I can go and eat another species, another life, an unbalanced energy. Why is it unbalanced? 9 times out of 10, it's because it was led to a slaughterhouse before it was murdered. It may sound a little gruesome, hence why when you go to the grocery store, they have a meat department where everything is all packaged up nice and the hard work is done for you. You don't have to understand and understand that that's a relative of another species that's inside that package that you're about to pick up to go eat. Not only that, you don't know how it was fed, its fuel source. And it goes against one of the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not kill. When it comes to thou shalt not kill, it was left open because thou shalt not kill anything from another god, another species, an idea, a thought, because thou being the God in the flesh, which we are, did not create any of those things. There's nothing new under the sun. The creator of the balanced universe created everything, and the creator said, thou shalt not kill anything. In what we consider the grocery store, what is a grocery? I don't know. It's another created term. When we go in there, we're purchasing, or they're selling 90% at least of killed / dead death to the masses. Why not? They're gods who've been convinced that they're humans, persons, individuals. So they'll eat anything. They'll believe anything because they don't know anything. How can you prove they don't know anything? Because they don't write anything. They don't research anything. They believe whatever's told to them. Because a certain group was given a certain word, I guess, authority over them. No one can be given authority over you unless you give it to them. And when you step into Godship, hence why we're doing this talk the talk so we can walk the walk, you take back your authority. Freedom isn't given, it's taken. If you want your authority back over your life as the God in the flesh, you must take it back. It starts with first realizing, recognizing, understanding, overstanding that you're a God. You're not a person. It's a legal construct. A God is a creator. It's also a destroyer. It's the positive and the negative, but staying in balance at all times. The balance. It comes from putting the proper fuel in the tank. Every tree with fruit bearing seed to be used for our meat. If you eat an animal that was walked to a slaughterhouse, hearing its relatives being slaughtered before it's its turn, almost like the quote unquote humans and persons waiting in line to be distracted by a roller coaster, or waiting in line to be distracted to go into a club or to a bar, or waiting in line to be distracted by going to a football game or a basketball game. It's no difference. Your thoughts are being controlled. Just like that species' life is now about to be controlled or ended, should we say, or murdered. Let's call it what it really is for your consumption. The thoughts, the ideas, the energy that's running through its earth body, which contains its emotions on its way to death, is fear. Terror, hurt, disappointment. Why? It just heard its mother ahead of it, its cousin ahead of it, its relatives in front of it being murdered, and it know it's next in line. That fear, terror, pain. Because it's also being done by the same people that fed it for the last however many years it's been walking this plane or planet. Maybe another topic for another day. Planes are flat. But we'll get back to it. Is it flat? Is it concave? Is it round? Doubt it. But another topic for another conversation on another day. So those same gods in the flesh that were told they were humans, who were supposed to have dominion to protect and teach and guide these animals, have fed it, act like they care about it, act like they love it, only to slit its throat to make a hamburger for consumption. The animals know that that's ungodly. The animals know that that's deceptive, hence why they're confused once they're being led to the slaughterhouse. Animals have emotions.
Hence why most people today, because that's what they are, people, they choose to be who they are. You get to choose. Am I a human? Am I a God in the flesh? Am I a person? You get to choose that. So people go and eat these slaughtered animals, and most people walk around in fear. Gods fear nothing. Fear no man. But God will never fear man. Gods feel sorry for mankind. Mankind, kind of like a man. God in the flesh, nonetheless. So that energy of fear, terror, deception, anger, and rage must be in there. It's the reason why most gods in the flesh choosing to be called a person, human, or man. No, not man. Nope, because when man was made, it was good. So yeah, they're only persons, individuals, legal constructs. Because once God made man in its image, man was balanced. Hence why they call us men. It's not to be plural. It's because it's a different word. It's now a term. More confusion. When man was made, man was good. Man was balanced. How did it get out of balance? When it stopped eating the God plan, which was every tree with fruit-bearing seeds. We started eating animal flesh. The electrical magnetic fluid inside of that animal flesh carried all of the fear, all of the terror, all of the disappointment, all of the confusion. And when we consumed it as persons, individuals, legal constructs, those who've been talked out of their Godship, we started fearing, walking around in terror. Then we started worshiping government rather than God. The Creator is a jealous God. It says, put no God before me. And man has put everything before God. So it's out of balance. And it's up to man to get himself back in balance. must start with what fuels man, which is our food source. You need to go potty? If we don't put the proper fuel in our tank, come on. Then we'll never get into balance. If we never get into balance with ourselves, we can never get into balance with the universe that we're a part of. This universe will remain in balance at all costs, by any means necessary. Do we want to be in alignment with it? That's one of the bigger questions. Do we want to continue to be persons, individuals? Or do we want to be gods in the flesh, becoming one with the balanced universe? Most people speak to their children as if they have some sort of knowledge because of age. Most parents are 20, 30, 40-year-old infants mentally. A species that brings its creation into this world, that naturally produces its fuel source for its child, which is a miniature version of them, God in the flesh, but decides to go and get another species milk to feed it, is definitely child-minded, infant-minded. Hope it's not taken in a disrespectful manner, but it's the truth. The truth hurts sometimes. We've never seen a cow go to the cow grocery store and get human milk to feed its child, its calf. So why the hell do we go to a store to get cow's milk to feed our children? It's outright ignorant. And if you don't like the truth, don't listen to the truth. Continue to be a person or an individual. We will find balance and remain in balance regardless. If a mother is breastfeeding her child as nature intended, that mother must not be infant-minded. She must understand and overstand every time she puts fuel into her fuel tank, which is her stomach. It must be of Godship. If not, she's transferring her energy to her child through the milk that she's feeding her child. So if she's not eating every fruit-bearing seed as her meat, and she's eating death, that then transfers through the child to where the child is now getting the fear, the terror. Because we don't come into this world with that fear, with that terror, with that pain. A lot of it's inflicted on us as soon as we come into this world through circumcision for young males, vaccinations for all. That's definitely separate topics for maybe another conversation. Mothers, fathers must be in alignment. Yes, the mother is the canal that the child comes through to enter this world. But the father, you must be in alignment also. So you have to understand and overstand for that seed to go into the womb. Everything you've eaten, every thought that's went through your mind, every time you've fed that thought through either anger, rage, or balance through breath work, and every time you've acted on those three that were just mentioned through your energy or emotion, energy in motion, energy in motion, which all four come together to make up your God principle, is in that child now. So if you haven't done self-reflection, introspection, to learn from each and every action, which can be considered good or bad, positive or negative, however we want to look at it, it's going to be in that child that you produced, that you inserted into your womb, God. So you must be in balance with self first. For the males with the penis, because masculine and feminine has nothing to do with penis and vagina. Let's go to God and wombed gods, what we really are. There's no one more superior than the other. Oh, the male is this, the man is this, the woman. No. We have gods and womb gods. So the God must be in balance with himself, and the wombed God must be in balance with herself, so they can come together and be balanced in union, equally yoked. Both parties must have done introspection, reflection, so they can take accountability and make certain changes in life. That's necessary. So once they decide, it shouldn't be a oops, baby. It should be a decision that's made for that creation. It should be intentions that's made with our creations. Not a keeper baby. Once we're in alignment with self, we can become equally yoked with another God that's in alignment with itself. We've been lied to since birth. Just about everything. We've been told that it's invisible beings in the sky that's gonna come down and punish us for whatever, if we're doing something good, if we're doing something bad, or fairy tales. Let's grow up, please. Pretty please, with sugar on top. Let's grow up. There's no sky daddies. We got Mother Nature, we got Father Time. Masculine and feminine energy. Not entities. Nature is the best teacher. Nature provides all healing, and if overconsumed, can provide all killing/death. Nature has positive and negative just like every other aspect of our universe, which we're part of. Gods, wombed and unwombed gods. We must start putting the proper fuel in our bodies, which is our earth. Our heaven on earth is our thoughts. That's where our heaven starts, in our thoughts. After we put the proper fuel in our tanks, you can't go and put diesel fuel in a gasoline engine and expect it to run great. It may crank up, possibly, but it will never run properly. It may crank, possibly, but it will never run properly. Gods don't eat flesh, from animals. The first book for most, from what I've read and known, most of the world is of some kind of quote unquote Christian faith. I still haven't seen in the book anywhere where it says, if you read this book and you're a believer of this book, you're a Christian. And one of the commandments is, thou shalt not have any idols, if I'm not mistaken. Thou shalt not have no other gods, and you shall not make idols. Most Christians have this statue of this man on the cross. That's an idol. Call him Jesus, call him whoever you want. That's an idol. Jesus and God in that book are not the same entities. They're separate. You shall have no other God. Maybe we should get away from religions and names and like just become like followers of like the commandments. If I was made in the image of God, that means I am a God. I am of God. Knowing that, I respect everything that is of God. It's a lot of allegory stories in that book that make for great entertainment, but most people look over the foundations. Right after man was made in the image and likeness of God, man was given its meal plan. We were given every tree with fruit-bearing seeds to be used for our meat. Every. That means all. All inclusive. None excluded. So once you get a few chapters into the book later and confusion is brought, you know that's not God. God doesn't confuse. If I was given all trees with fruit-bearing seed, I would never be put into a garden and told not to eat off of that tree because I was already given permission to eat all trees with fruits-bearing seeds. 9 times out of 10, that wasn't the creator. No, we're going to say 10 times out of 10, that wasn't the creator of the balanced universe speaking. That may have been another authority figure, and once somebody went against its word, then it came up with this fairy tale of now everybody's going to be punished, and now comes death, and now comes this, and now comes... Yeah, a bunch of confusion. And then after that, now you can eat animals a few chapters later because you guys don't know how to follow directions, and now you're going to be punished. But with your punishment comes the ability to kill animals that you were given dominion over to protect. No, that doesn't make any sense. That's not the way the creator of the balanced universe operates. So we have to learn to use discernment when we're reading too. The created can never undo the creator. The child can never undo the parents. Oh, I don't have parents. Yes, you do. the created. You were created. You can't undo what created you. If the beginning of the book says, thou shalt not, and then it comes later and contradicts itself, no, the latter is null and void. Unless you accept it. So now we get in the contract. If you accept that as your truth, then it is your truth. Or that is your law. That doesn't mean it's the truth from the creator of the balanced universe. You just accept it into your life. We accept sins into our lives every day. We accept falsities into our lives every day. And we try to make them truths. But the true meal plan of God is every tree with fruit bearing seeds. If we choose to follow it, that's up to us. Or we can be of persons or of mankind. No. We must be godly. We must learn discipline. We must learn balance. We must get a foundation. Most of us lack discipline. Most of us have no foundation. Most parents out here are pushing religion and they don't know the foundation of the religion. Without the foundation, how can you say you're part of any organization? Where's the root of Christianity? Where did Christianity start? Were there any books with very, 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 very similar stories in it, with different names of the same characters that predated the Bible? Most likely. Guaranteed. Are there certain principles that's in the Bible that come from sources that predate the Bible? Yes. Bible. Basic information before leaving Earth. Basic. If it's confusing, it's probably entertainment that's in the book. Or confusion. Let he with eyes see, and he with ears hear. When student is ready, the teacher appears. So in this Godship, talk the talk so we can walk the walk, we're going to have different conversations. We'll try to keep it structured, but most likely not, because it's a lot that we got to cover. But we must start with the thought, the knowing that we're gods in the flesh, having a human experience. human, man of color. Not black or white, because there's no black or white person. Sorry to break the news. We're mankind of different hues. We're man of different hues. But we're God's first. You shall have no other gods. The source and self. You shall not make idols. You better get that chain off your chest with this cross and somebody being nailed to it. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill, and thou shalt not eat death either. Thou shalt honor thy mother and father. Even though that most of them think that they're persons and individuals, let them know that they're gods. Give them the respect. But if they fail to respect you, you must separate yourselves. Do not match energies. Do not lower your vibration because of those who you are related to. Do not stay around people whose vibration is staying low because you're related to them or they're your siblings. Thou shalt not use God's name in vain. So that means you can't speak ill will on self, being a God. Nor shall you speak ill will on the creator of the balanced universe, because everything is balanced at all times. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. How about we take a day and fast, give our internals a break every now and then. Give our physical body a break every now and then. Maybe every Saturday, the Sabbath day. Just chill, relax. Stay in a state of gratitude. It's the only form of payment that you can give the universe, the creator of the balanced universe, quote unquote God, self, is to give it a break every now and then and stop going. Give a break, relax, stop eating, flush. Thou shalt not commit adultery. If you're not in contract with your mate, or it could be mates, and you can't fulfill every contract with them, don't be with them. Go be with self. Go learn about self. Stop trying to be involved with somebody else and you don't even know anything about self. Stop just sleeping around for egotistical purposes or trying to fill voids. Mommy issues, daddy issues. Thou shalt not steal. Hey, if it's not yours, it's not yours. If it's not yours, it's not yours. Why do you want it? Did you earn it? Do you need it? Or do you just want it because you think it'll make you better than the next who don't have it? 9 times out of 10, it's ego. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Man, don't be lying on people out here to make yourself look good or feel better about a situation. Thou shalt not covet. Don't encroach on another man's property, ideas, family. Go create your own. Go build your own. Go protect your own. A lot of why we break those commandments is because we break the first law in the book. We was given every tree with fruit-bearing seed to be used for our meat. Our fruits are high vibrational. They're balanced. They have the proper amount of negative and positive energy. Through what source? Through the moon and the sun. That's constantly keeping it balanced. Even when it comes to the rain, the chemtrails, guess what? No matter what chemical they try to put in it, it doesn't matter. The soil, it has a purpose. It filters all the stuff that we don't need, allowing the trees, the roots, to absorb only what we need. Let's get the proper fuel in our fuel cells so it can feed our thoughts. Let's practice proper breath work to keep our bodies / our engines operating at the proper temperatures, not getting overexerted. Practicing our breath work, staying in control of our emotions, which is our energy in motion, the way we function and flow through our day. That's how we tap into our God principle, our God matter, our God self, and how we make this world a better place. It first starts with our world. You have to start with the world that you're controlling, that your body is your earth. It's containing your universe of everything that's going on inside the fire. The water. The air. Which is our overall God self. I want to tell everybody stay positive, high vibes tribe. That's what we must remain to be. That's what we must continue to evolve and grow. If you have children, we must get the proper fuel in them now. If you're aspiring to be a parent, to have children, start getting your fuel cell together now. It's reprogramming, it's reconditioning. You'll thank me later. For those who think, no, every excuse under the sun and the moon, you'll pay. Just last little food for thought. a dis-ease. It's not a coincidence. It's called punishment. When you go against the God meal plan, you're punished for it. That's the way things are supposed to be. It's called balance. Repercussions. So eat like a God and watch diseases disappear. Fast, as we're guided to do, as we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to just work, as society has convinced you to do. Let's switch a few things up and start living more like gods. Stop living like slaves. Just work. Feed them slop, just so they have enough energy to go to work, but they don't know how to think. Fuel, make sure you operate properly. Food, make sure you can go to work. I'm going to leave y'all as I came to y'all, in the frequency of love. And we'll talk again soon.